guys, it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to card 9 in my 2017 Valentine series. Today I'm going to be using this red rubber stamp from Crafter's Companion. This is called True Love and it's from their Moonbeam Meadow line. And I thought I'd go ahead and show you guys that up close so you can get a better look of what it looks like. I'll also be using the Valentine 6x6 by American Crafts. Really pretty traditional palette with a touch of navy mixed in there. So I have gone ahead and stamped out my image on some Bristol smooth surface cardstock. And I've stamped that in VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and then I've clear embossed that and heat set it. And now I'm just going to take some blue painter's tape, and I'm going to tape my panel down to this is just a cutting board from IKEA, just a cheap one. I just wanted a small one that would fit in my drawers easily for storage. So I'm just taping that down because I do plan to use a bit of water today, and I want to keep that from warping as much as possible. So I've got my little water well off to the side there, and I'll be using 3 different sizes of silver black velvet brushes. I have the number 2, number 4, and number 6 rounds, and I'll just be switching back and forth depending on the areas that I'm painting. So I'm watercoloring with my Zigs today, and I'm starting out with 65 mid brown, just doing a little bit of shadow on the little mice there on the left side of their faces and ears. And then I added a little 60 brown, and then I'm going in with a little bit of 64 oatmeal to just blend that color out a bit. I'll just smooth that transition. And then I will take my number 2 round, just get that a little bit wet, and I will blend that to create a nice highlight over on the right side, leaving just a touch of white there to reflect the light of the moon. And then just smoothing out that color on that little bit of their bodies that shows as well. For the roses in the bouquet, I'm going to take number 24 wine red, and I'm going to give that a scribble of color in the center, and then just a little scribble here and there just to create some dimension in those flowers. And then I will take number 22 carmine red, and just add a little bit of that, just kind of scribbling the colors on. These markers are so forgiving. And then I'm going to finish off with a touch of 25 pink to just give them a nice pop of that pinky red. And then I will go ahead with my number 2 round again and just blend all that color out. And I am going to lose some of the brightness, so I will go back in later with a little bit more of that darkest color after these are completely dry. I'm also filling in some of the gaps between the flowers just to create the illusion of more behind it, but I will leave some spaces in there for green, so it looks like there's also leaves mixed into the bouquet. For the paper wrapping around the bouquet, I'm using 91 light gray, and that's not going to show up a whole lot right now because that Bristol smooth surface is not quite a pure white anyway. But once the other colors come in around it, you will see that that does have a little bit of shading. So now I'm starting on the inside of the umbrella with the number 10 black, and I'm just trying to create the deepest shadows. I'm also going to create some deep shadows on the very bottom of the part that's floating in the water. So just scribbling on some color there, and then I'm going to take the 95 dark gray and blend that out. That is quite dark. I was a little worried when I started putting this down that maybe it was too much color. But in the end, you'll see that I'm able to lift it up and create the dimension that I really want. Finishing up with the number 90 gray and just being really careful to scribble around the little mouse's ears. And then I'm going to go in, and this time I'm using my number 4 round, so a little bit larger of a brush because I have a little bit larger of an area to cover. So I'm starting out in the lighter parts, the white parts that I have not painted, adding some water in there, and then bringing that down to meet the color that I've scribbled on, and then kind of grabbing that once it's starting to flow and moving that around. And there you can see when I get too much color, I just dip my brush in the water, pinch it completely off, so it's just very damp but not wet, and then I can pick up that color and move that around so I can create those highlights at the top that I really want to have to show the contrast. And this took a little bit to get that smoothed out so that it had a nice transition of color and no stark lines. But I think it's worth the effort, and these markers blend so beautifully on this Bristol smooth surface. It's really easy to just keep moving the pigment around on the page until you get it to a look that you're really happy with. So now I'm just going to do the same for the inside of the umbrella, starting in the white portions at the top, painting in some clean, clear water, and then I will bring that down to meet the pigment that I have put on the page. And then once I have that, I can just smooth that around, drawing the color into the small little areas. These paint brushes come to a super fine tip, which is one of the things I love about them. So you're able to get in all those little crevices. The same goes for these Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens. They also have a super fine tip that makes them really nice to do detail work like this. So now I'm taking 44 Deep Green. I'm just using the one shade on the leaves because I'm going to create additional shades by just blending that out with water so that it gets a little bit lighter at the tips. I also did scribble some color between the roses, as I said earlier, just to create the look of fullness, so it looks like a really full bouquet with lots of leaves intermixed. I also did switch back to my number 2 round. I love this one for getting into fine detailed areas. I'm able to blend that color out even between the roses without any bleeding. And now that those roses are dry, I'm going to intensify the color just by taking that 24 Wine Red once again and adding an additional little bit of color, just scribbling it on. And I will also take that shade to color in the heart. And I'll add some 25 pink as well. I'll leave it a little white at the top so that I can blend that out. But first I'm going to blend out those roses, just kind of scribbling again with my wet brush right over top of that marker, and also blending out the heart. Next I'll be working on the moon, and for that I'm going to take number 50 Yellow, and I'll just add some darker shading right on the inside and the bottom edge and blend that out with the 51 Lemon. I probably didn't need 2 shades for that little area, but I'm just so used to it from Copic coloring using more than 1 shade of marker. But you can also get, some nice looks with just 1 shade like I did on the leaves. I went a little outside the line there, so I'm just cleaning that up with some clean water. It won't matter too much because I am going to do a night sky, but I just wanted to get some of that yellow off so it didn't make green when I add the blue later. I'm also going to add the lemon yellow to the butterflies just to give them a little bit of color there. Alright, so now I'm going to work on my water. So I'm starting out with 30 blue, and the first thing I'm doing is just kind of tracing these lines that the artist has left me. And then I'm just going to reinforce those by drawing in a couple extra of my own. Then I'm taking 32 Persian Blue, and I'm just coloring right over top of that, making the lines a little bit thicker. Just so I have some more shades in there that are going to blend out. And then I will also take the number 37 Cornflour Blue, and strangely enough that is the way it is spelled on the package, on the marker barrel. So I just filled in a little bit more, coloring right over top of that. Now I'm going to take my number 6 round. This is the largest of the 3 round brushes that I have. I'm painting on some clean, clear water, trying to create the line that will separate my water from the sky. And then I'm just going to drag that color across so that I have like an even line. And then I'm going to kind of saturate the paper with water. You don't want to get too carried away because this is not watercolor paper. This is Bristol, so it's a little bit different. but I do want enough water on there to make the pigment flow. And then I'm also just taking some clean clear water at the bottom to kind of let that fade off. Now I'm going to take my whole panel and flip it upside down. I'm also going to grab an acrylic block and scribble on some 31 Cobalt Blue. So feel free to turn your panel if you need to especially to do the backgrounds. You want to be really careful at this stage not to ruin all the hard work that you've put in. So you know, if turning your panel is what's going to make it comfortable to be able to paint in around all these little details, then go ahead and do it. So I'm just painting on some clean clear water, and then I'm starting out with that cobalt and just spreading that color on. I want to create a light wash at first. I'm going to build my color. So it's just starting out with very light, a lot of water and a little of pigment, and just blending that out. Also going to add some more clean clear water at the top of the page, going around that moon carefully. Also that heart. I did get a little bit of bleeding from that heart, but I was able to clean it up throughout the piece. So just going to continue to add some water and some of that pigment until I get a really nice sky. And I will also add in the other 3 shades of blue that I used for my water, just by scribbling those onto the acrylic block and adding those here and there, making the transition darkest at the top and then lightest towards the horizon line. I also want the color to be not quite smooth, so I'm kind of dabbing it here and there. I want it to have kind of a cloudy appearance in the background, so just kind of dropping in color here and there to create that kind of mottled texture. So I went on the Crafter's Companion website to check out the information so that I would have the links and stuff for this video, and I discovered that all of these stamps are 75% off. I'm not sure if they're no longer going to be selling them or if they're just having a really good sale, but there's a whole lot of cute images left, and the sale doesn't show up until you put them in your shopping cart, but once you do, they're $2.49 each, which is crazy cheap for red rubber stamps. So if you're interested in any of these images or images that are similar, you might want to go check that out, and that's at crafterscompanion.com. I used to be on their design team a few years ago, but I am no longer. I stepped down a couple years ago just to concentrate on other things. So, you know, I don't get anything from you going over there. I just thought I'd go ahead and share the sale with you guys since it was a good one. And if you really like this image, it was still available last night. So I can put a link in the description bar below the video if you're interested, so you can just check that out. So I'm just continuing to drop in that color here and there, like I said, trying to create sort of like a just before evening. I mean, the moon is up, it's not quite dark out, kind of like a dusk or twilight time of day, with the kind of purpley blues at the top and then the more aqua shades at the bottom. I'm also going to take some clean water and just go back over that moon. I got a little bit of blue in there, so I'm just cleaning that back up, smoothing that out. And then I also went back over the butterflies with the lemon yellow because they got a touch of blue in them. Even with the embossing, it's easy to get a little color in those little small images, especially when they're colored in a light shade like the yellow. But it's also pretty easy to clean it up, so. Once that panel is no longer cool to the touch, I know that it's dry enough to go ahead and start peeling off my painter's tape. You just want to grab an edge and kind of peel it off at an angle so it doesn't rip your paper. And there's a closer look at our finished panel. So now I'm going to grab this Avery L pinked die. This comes in a set of some different pinked edge dies. This is the largest in the set. I'm going to tape a little bit of post-it tape over top and run that through my Cuttlebug. And this is what it looks like when you pull it out. Has that nice pretty edge, like a postage stamp edge. For my card base, I'm using a piece of MFT's Pink Lemonade cardstock. That's my favorite pink cardstock. And then I've got 2 pieces of pattern paper cut down. This one is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 to fit the whole front of my card. And I just liked this kind of watercolor stripe that's kind of organic and not perfectly straight. I thought it would go well with our image. I also liked this rose pattern, and I die cut that with the smaller of the 2 Mama Elephant Femme Frames dies. I thought this would go well with the little bouquet image and also with our night sky and our sea. I'm going to flip over my focal panel and add some Scotch 3M foam tape to the back. I'm just going to make sure that that is really well supported, and just tear off that little bit and stick it between there because I didn't get it quite straight. And then you can just peel off the backer sheets. And then I'll just flip that over and line that up on my card front. Get that nice and centered, and then I'll press that down into place. For my sentiment, I have stamped and heat embossed this I love you like the moon loves the stars. This comes with this stamp set. And I die cut that with one of the banner dies from the Neat and Tangled scalloped die set. And I'm just going to add a little piece of foam tape to the end that's going to hang over the focal panel, and then a little Tombow Mono to the rest of that banner. So I'll just pop that up and make sure that it's really straight on there. Love that sentiment. I think it goes so well with this image. I'm going to take a white Jelly Roll pen and just color in the little stars that got watercolored over with the blue. And then I'm also going to add just a couple additional stars, not too many because it's not too dark out yet, like I said, but just a few here and there. And just varying the sizes of those as well. For the inside of my card, I am just going to take some Lawn Fawn Lobster ink, and there's like this little heart hanging from a branch that comes with that stamp set as well. So I'm just going to stamp that down in the center. And then I have a sentiment that says Hugs and Kisses. So I'm just going to line that up right over top and stamp that down. And that is going to complete our card for today. So there's another quick look at the inside, and then there is our pretty watercolored scene with our little mice floating down the river in the umbrella. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Here's a couple extra videos you might enjoy, and you can always click on my photo to subscribe to my channel. Also, click on the bell at the top right of your screen if you want my videos to always stay in your feed, since YouTube has made some changes that will ensure that they always show up for you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.